cultural sensitivity, cultural awareness session. I have one that's specifically on that. But this is the ceremonial aspect. And you'll notice that logo. That logo is I work in mental health as well. And so that's my logo with the medicine wheel. And I have a butterfly coming through the medicine wheel because I feel the medicine wheel is holistic. And the butterfly is a symbol of someone who's dealing with depression, or they haven't dealt with a death, or they haven't dealt with a personal issue, a breakup of losing a job. And so when they're distraught, they don't see themselves as a butterfly. They see themselves as back in the cocoon or in the egg stage or the larva stage. So I use the butterfly coming through the center and knowing that we have to look at everybody as a butterfly and just give them that time to come out of one of those transformants and stuff. So and Chiwalak Mixawagan is healing of mind, body, and spirit. The next one, please. Thank you. So same picture, to be mentally well. And it's rather than mentally ill, I always use not the deficit of it. I always see the positive of it. So it's not to be mentally ill, but to be mentally well means to me that my traditional teachings are restored. This includes the use of traditional teachings from ceremonies, dreams, and vision quest to visualize new and hopeful incomes. And dreams are so important. We're dreamers, and stuff. And we have to wake up our children's dreams, our youth dreams, our young people's dreams, and stuff, because sometimes people will say the dreams are too non-important or non-significant. I'm just the opposite. I ask my little 1-year-old, what you dream about last night? I'll say it in my language first, and I'll do it in English. And I have a granddaughter who's 5 now, and she, guess what I dreamt about, Nokmes, and so she's really excited, and I want her to be that hopeful, and we need to do that because we have a prophecy that our young children, that are our babies that are in the world now, they're our elders. We have to listen to them, and we have to make sure that they're brought up in an environment that's going to help them to be mentally well and not sick, yeah. So Vision Quest, I do Vision Quest, which is another time, we'll talk about it later, to visualize new and hopeful outcomes, thank you. And of course, to be mentally well means we will have a strong sense of identity. So we can't just say, I'm Imelda Purley and I'm from St. Mary's and Tobic and all that. It has to be more than that. Our sense of purpose, everybody has a purpose. My university students that are struggling right now, and I says, when I give you a midterm, it's not to torture you, it's to help me become a better teacher. Because if I ask you questions that I've talked about in class, and you don't answer them, then I have to improve how I teach it to you. Because I don't want you leaving here a blank slate like you came in. So it helps me, so help me. So it's a different way that they take my midterms now and stuff, They have to be involved in traditional gatherings. That's why our educational environments have to be set up for that. They have to have a place to go to, and it's just tough, and stuff. Gatherings of medicines, food for feast, and rites of passage. I had to deliver in the middle of the night. I had an elder call me. I know you're probably the only one. I need some muskrat root, dues. And I said, okay, what's your address? So I went up middle of the night to take him a couple things of muskrat root because he was having a hard time breathing and stuff. I said, you want me to come and do something? No, I'm already bothering you middle of the night. But that's what we're called on and stuff, So for him to trust me enough to know I would have the medicine. So that's really important because it's a lot better than what we get at the drugstore. And they close after 5, Food for feasts and rites of passage. There's a ceremony for birth, there's a ceremony for death. When my brother passed and they took his body from his hospital room, I asked permission from the hospital. I need to let his spirit go now. So I need your help. I need the window to be opened. I need the door closed for a while. I need to do a ceremony. I need to do a letting go ceremony. And then I'm going to follow it all the way out the front door. So that way his spirit doesn't linger here. And so, and I said, and you can watch, because I don't want you to think that what we do is Twilight Zone-y or something, yeah. So, because they do. They think, oh my God, I didn't know that, yeah. Puberty, because she looked at me when I said, his spirit? You know, doesn't his spirit go with him in his body? I said, no, because the family was here and there was a lot of, you know, so I need to do this ceremony so that I don't picture my brother in his hospital bed.
Yes.
So I need to let it go. So I know he's not there anymore, or even a part of him is and stuff, so yeah. So puberty, very important, you know. As a young woman, as a young man, there has to be a ceremony of when your voice changes for a man. And when the woman has her first moon time, it's a celebration. It's not a taboo thing. Western society seems to think of it as a taboo, and it's very secretive. Don't tell anybody. I'm going to take you to the drugstore to get you. You know, it shouldn't be that way at all. For us, it was 3-day ceremony, and those, you know, young women didn't have to do any chores for those 3 days. They got to do beadwork or weave a basket or learn how to sew or learn how to cook or something. They weren't just going about business, and everybody else in the family would take up those chores. But they couldn't say, they couldn't be bossy and say, well, I'm on my moon time. Would you get me that, please?
Oh, darn, that would
Yeah. So that was that, you know, and unfortunately, I do that happened, you know, and stuff. But I had to bring her down a notch or two, this young woman. And we do traditional marriage. So I brought this. This is because I do traditional weddings, and this is a wedding shawl that the couple earns. And so what the couple earn at the end is there'll be a string here, like there's a place for a string, and there'll be an eagle feather. So when a couple is after they've set their vows and after they've made their promises, and there's a whole other aspect to it, which maybe we'll do at another time to talk specifically on ceremonies. So what they do is her family will come to the groom's side, and the bride's family, his family will come to the bride's side, and they wrap this around the couple, and they hold their eagle feathers, which they've earned through the sweat lodge they had prior to their wedding. So for them as a couple, it's being born together. So they're born from 2 different moms, but when they come into a sweat lodge, they come together and they're born together as a couple. So they crawl out of the lodge together. And so those are the feathers that they're gifted with. So any time in their married life, there's an argument. He wants to go to the football game. She wants to go to the flea market. And there's an issue with that. They have to settle it, not go to bed mad, but they put this around them, hold their eagle feathers, and be honest with each other instead of saying, I'm going to a meeting, you know, or I'm doing this. And, you know, so when you start lying to each other as a couple, it mars the trust. It puts a dent in the love. So it does a lot of, so this is supposed to protect them from lying to each other so that they can be totally honest and stuff. So